So, I watched the movie Leviticus, and really the only reason that I went to watch this movie was because I got an ad for it on Instagram months before it was released. Ever since I got that one ad, teaser for it, I kept getting ads for it, and the trailer for it eventually dropped, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to watch Leviticus in my local cinema, but it never came to my local cinema, so I had to drive to a town about an hour away, but it's okay, because I got to see it, and boy, was that one of the best movies I've ever seen. At least, best movie of the year, best horror movie of the year, best queer horror movie of the year. Probably ever. It and I Saw the TV Girl are probably pretty close together, but either way, I thought this movie was pretty groundbreaking because, for one, main plot is really just two guys kissing, avoiding a demon, usual. And it's a commentary on conversion therapy. It's a horror movie, so it's not going to frame anything perfectly realistically, but it comes pretty close. The deliverance healer in this movie is predicted pretty accurately, I think, and though the supernatural elements of the story obviously aren't real, they make for a very interesting dilemma between the characters. Because it makes the characters scared of each other, not by portraying them or their inner thoughts as demons, but by genuinely putting a demon, physically manifesting an oppressive force onto them. And I think that's very interesting for them to do. It doesn't only force the characters to think differently, the main two characters, about their relationship, but it really makes you think about the mindsets of all the parents that make their kids go through this. It's implied at the start of the film that all the parents who take their children to this deliverance healer know what the deliverance healer does and how it releases the demons on the kids. But they don't care. They'd rather see their kids never live their true life, but never have to risk the idea of homophobia or their kids not being who they want them to be. The parents, especially Naeem's mother at the beginning of this movie, all they want is to control their kids. They don't want them to live the real life that they want to have. They don't want them to explore the feelings that they want to have. And I just think it's so interesting. It really shows the mindsets of the parents who go through these types of things. And obviously, it's something that's baked into people at a very young age, so it's just really interesting. I think this could almost be considered generational trauma in a way. And Naeem not having his father with him, I think, can say a lot about it too. Personally, I like to headcanon that his father was gay and left his mom for a man. I don't know. Just he was forced into arranged marriage with her. I mean, I'm not saying that what he did was right, but it's kind of a Brokeback Mountain situation. Either way, this movie's done really well. The threat is very scary. There's a lot of very horrifying moments in this movie, especially towards the end. The ending sequence is what got me the most. And I think, surprisingly, more scary than the demon itself is Naeem's mother, because she really doesn't care for Naeem all that much. She seems really disconnected from him. He doesn't know much about him. There's a scene at the start of the movie where Naeem's mother doesn't actually know what his favorite band was or something, I believe. Know the name of it. And he's she really doesn't care or know her son. She doesn't really know who her son is. And I think there are some things about this movie that are a bit immature or half-baked. The chemistry, the romantic chemistry between Ryan and Naeem. I understand it. I definitely get it, by the middle of this movie. But the beginning of this movie, it's very rushed, I'd say. They kind of just fall onto each other and in a storage building because they're hanging out. But it's implied that Ryan had a crush on Naeem before Naeem had a crush on Ryan. So I believe that they could get together, especially as teenagers. And I think this movie is very self-aware of the fact that the characters themselves are teenagers. They're discovering their sexuality. It's what they're doing. And the way the characters bond throughout this movie, the main two, Naeem and Ryan, it's very interesting because it's almost like the demon is what allows them to be closer, which I think is incredibly interesting because at first, the deliverance healer was trying to push them apart by putting this demon, into their lives. But what's funny about it is that it actually makes them, have to be closer together to avoid its company, because it only comes when they're alone, and if they're together, they're never alone. And I bet if you read into that enough, there's probably something that could say about what conversion therapy does to people. But in the end, I think it's just about growing through safe spaces. This movie really makes you feel alone. It really makes queer people feel alone. It made me feel alone. It's a very isolating movie, and I think the fact that it can capture that feeling really well is quite brilliant of the filmmaker and the director. The other thing I want to call out is just the style of this movie, because this movie is beautiful, but beautiful in the way that it was made really well. Because the movie doesn't look good, it looks very sad and depressing. It's almost a Tim Burton-esque style, but the fact they were able to pull it off just shows incredible skill with filmmaking and color grading and stuff like that. It reminds me of a rural town in Australia. If you told me this is a rural town in Australia looked like, I mean, I believe you. I've never been to rural Australia, so And I know I said the characters in this movie don't have like fantastic chemistry romantically, but that's not entirely true, especially towards the end of this movie and the middle, and all the scenes where they kiss. But the actors have incredible chemistry. I think the acting in this movie is generally incredible. These two, the stars, Ryan and Naeem, their real life counterparts Stacy and Joe, I think they did a great job with these characters. I couldn't tell anybody was acting, and that's surprising given this is a independent film. And yeah, you really want these two to end up together. You really want them to get together. I think, yeah, these two are a very shippable couple. Either way, an ending fanfic of this movie made me cry, and that's good enough for me. Bye.